Hi. And someone gave me this beautiful heart today as a gift. So thank you for that wonderful entree. Hello. While he's getting this set up, it's so great to be with you. Hello to everybody online. Hello, Mom and Dad watching from home. I wish you were here, maybe next year. And hello to Bree. Are we good with? Yeah, good? Okay, great. I want you to think about school celebrations for just a little bit. What was your favorite celebration in school? Did you say Halloween? Halloween? You said it. Earth Day? Valentine? Christmas? You want to know what mine was? My favorite celebration at school was always the last day of school. Because, we got all of our free time after that, but in my neighborhood, at the very last second before we were released for the summer, it was like a magical spell was sprinkled all over the kids in my neighborhood. And we gained the ability to run at super speed. As soon as the bell rang, boom, we burst through the doors of Kamak Elementary. We took off running through our neighborhood, and we ran and ran and ran every single hour through the rest of the summer. Down 9th Avenue, we would run to 3rd Street, and we'd turn around and run all the way back to 2nd Street, and turn around and run all the way back to 3rd Street, and turn around and run all the way back to 2nd, to 3rd, to 2nd, to 3rd. This was as far as we were allowed to go in my neighborhood. We ran and ran and ran, and we ran faster and faster every single day. And we stayed out all day long. And there was only one thing that would make us run that fast back towards our homes. One day we were up in the Charlie tree, which was this tree back at the back part of the block by the alley. And the Charlie tree was special. It had all these branches. It was easy to climb, and every kid had their own branch to sit in. And this is where we would pretend to be in a hot air balloon or a ship sailing the sea. We did a lot of imagining up in the Charlie tree. And one day we were up in the Charlie tree when off in the distance we heard a sound. And we turned and looked. And there, crossing 2nd Street into our territory, going at 5 miles an hour, was an enormous van with cartoon characters painted on the sides of it. At the very top, there was this tinny old loudspeaker playing a recording of a piano. It was like a scene from a horror movie. Except inside this truck, there was ice cream. We had a plan for just this moment. We jumped out of the tree. Dum, dum, dum. A cloud of dust went up like this. You run down the alley. You run down the sidewalks. You go between our houses. And all the kids ran home as fast as we could. We dashed upstairs to our bedrooms, looked for our piggy bank, got it, shook, trying to get money out. Shake harder. It's going to pass 3rd Street. Shake. Who designed these things? And then finally, enough money had fallen out. You grab it, take the stairs 2 at a time, burst through the front door. When we got out to our front porches, we looked to make sure it hadn't crossed 3rd Street, because if it had, it was over. But we scanned down 9th Avenue, and it had parked right there in front of my friend's house, and there was already a line of kids out the back side of it, and I ran to join the back of that line, and it took forever. And even though that menu on the side of the van only had 8 items on it, and even though every kid ordered the exact same thing every time, it took everyone 5 minutes to make their decision each. Corey and Chad across the street, they always got a Nutty Buddy bar. Or, well, it was like a cone. Yeah. Well, let's try this one. Nathan and Beth Ann from around the corner, they always got an ice cream sandwich. Ooh, you like that one. Well, Ashley and Justin from over there, they always got, it was like Mickey Mouse's head and the ears were dipped in chocolate. And there was bubble gum for eyes sometimes. And finally, it was my turn, and I would shake the coins loose from my hand, and I always picked the orange sherbet push-up pie. The orange sherbet push-up pop is a toilet paper tube filled with creamy goodness. And we ate our ice creams, and the engine turned back on, and that truck started slowly moving down 9th Avenue. And for one of the rare times in our childhood, we were standing still. Now, one day in the summer, it rained. It rained hard, a big thunderstorm, which would have been a great day to start my summer reading list. But why start early when you could wait till the day before school started? I was looking for something else to do in the house, and in the back of our house, we had a big window that looked into the backyards of the neighborhood. There was a piano next to it. My older brother and sister had taken piano lessons, and I hadn't, but I had learned enough from watching them that I could pick out notes one at a time. So I thought maybe I'll play the piano while it's raining. I went to the piano bench and dug deep and pulled out this book. On the cover it said Prokofiev. The title, Peter and the Wolf. Looked interesting. I broke the spine like this, flattened it out, and went to play the notes one at a time. It was the same song that the ice cream truck played. And someone in my brain said, you could use this to your advantage. And so the next day, when it wasn't raining, I heard commotion out in the backyards. I ran to the window and I looked, and all the kids were gathered together with a kickball, and they were doing bubblegum in a dish. How many pieces do you wish to break into different teams? And I was going to run out there, but my voice said, wait, watch. And there was the first bowl and the pitch, and a kid ran up and boom, kicked it like that and started running the bases, and I just opened that window. I got out the book and I started to play. And I looked out the window again around the piano. The bowl was all alone in the grass. Kids were running back home. Someone in my head said, go outside so you don't get caught. And I ran out to the front porch and looked, and all up and down our street, kids came out with fists clenched with coins in them. They looked over to 3rd Street. It hadn't crossed 3rd Street. They looked down 9th Avenue towards 2nd Street, and the ice cream truck wasn't there. And my friend's shoulders slumped down. But I stood a little bit taller. And the next day, we were over the Charlie Tree. It was home base for hide and go seek. My friend Petey was it. We took off running for hiding spaces. And as he counted 98, 99, instead of getting a hiding space, I went inside of my house and I opened up that window. 100, ready or not, here I come. And I started to play. And that was as far as I had to play because they were running past the window to get their money. I ran out front so I didn't get caught. And I looked up and down the street, and all the kids came out. They were looking up and down the street. No ice cream truck. Another day in a row. And they kind of hunched over. But I had this strange sense of power coursing through my veins. I was like a puppet master for all of my friends in the neighborhood. And the next day, we were out at the alley, where we were laying on our bellies on the gravel, drawing maps of worlds that we had imagined. And off in the distance, I jumped up. I said, it's the ice cream truck. We got to go, everybody. But nobody else stood up to go. I said, come on, everybody. It's the ice cream truck. Don't you hear it? And they said, it's not going to be there. I said, no, it will be. It's out there. Come on, we got to go. And nobody moved. It's not going to be there. Every time we go, it's not there. I said, it will be there. Come on. They said, it won't be there. I said, I promise you, it's going to be there. Come on, get up. Don't you understand? It's ice cream, and it's in a truck, and it's right there. They said, it's not going to be there. I said, it is. It's not. It is. It's not. I said, it is. I promise you, it will be there this time because it's not me this time. And crayons went down to the ground and they said, what do you mean? It's not you this time. And if there was anything in my neighborhood that ran faster than kids in the summertime, it was news that someone had been bad. And by the time I got home for dinner that night, my parents had been called by 3 other sets of parents in the neighborhood. But they didn't lead on that they knew. In fact, it was the next day when I was out in the yard playing with a Nerf ball, and off in the distance, I heard this sound, and I took off running into the house, but my parents were there like this. "We know what you've done." "You do? And as a punishment, you're gonna get your piggy bank," "I am," "and buy ice cream for all of your friends. March." And I went and got the piggy bank as slow as I could, hoping that the ice cream truck would be gone. But when I got to the front door, it had parked at the end of our sidewalk. And even though the menu only had 8 items, and even though every kid got the same thing every time, they all took 5 minutes, which made the punishment worse. Corey and Chad got the Nutty Buddy, and I paid for it. Nathan and Beth Ann got the ice cream sandwich, and I paid for it. And Ashley and Justin got the Mickey Mouse head, and I paid for it. And finally, it was my turn, and when I got up there, I was out of money. And that's when I paid for it. And my parents said, "Now, the second part of your punishment, since you think you're such a great piano player, is you're going to give your friends a private recital." "I am?" "March." We went inside and I sat down at the piano, and the only song I had practiced enough was Peter and the Wolf to be able to play, so I started to play. And my friends gathered around me in a big circle and went, as I played Peter and the Wolf over and over again. And the only thing that ran fast that day in my world were the tears coming down my face, because I had learned my lesson to never cry wolf. Thank you all. Hope you like that. Mom and Dad, you know what's real in that.